Hello and welcome. I am the young storyteller, and today I'm gonna be reading a story called A Tale of a Nobody, a Kingdom Hearts fanfiction by Xion Hikari. Please wait till the end of the video to get some more information about my channel and what's going to happen in the future. Also, viewer discretion is advised. This story does contain swearing of different kinds and descriptions of violent acts. If that is not your cup of tea, I advise you to click away from this video now. With that out of the way, onwards with the story. A Tale of a Nobody. Chapter 1. Rainy Afternoons. Dark clouds slowly gathered in the early morning sky. They were swollen with the rain they promised to shower the earth with. Xion looked up at the sky. She hoped the rain wouldn't come until well after she had gone home. She tucked the sleeves of her favorite blue sweater down past her wrists and to her palms. She balled up her hands to hold down her sleeves. Xion then tightly crossed her arms and pushed them into her chest and hurried off to school. "Hey, did you hear about the upcoming school festival?" Xion stopped in the hallway as she listened to two boys converse. "They said it was going to be the best one this year." "Yeah, if you're a senior, you'd have to be so fucking stupid to miss out on it." They started chuckling. Xion's never been to a single school festival. She always believed them to be unnecessary and stupid, but seeing as she's a senior, she thought it would be worth it, going for at least once. "Move, you stupid bitch!" Xion felt herself being thrown into the lockers. "Ow!" she cried in pain. She looked over her shoulder to see the queen bitch, Naminé. Naminé was a spoiled, little, rich, blonde bimbo who wore too much makeup. She was shallow and fake, and believed she had the entire school wrapped around her little finger. Naminé and a clique of two girls glared at Xion. "Well, say you're sorry," said the one on Naminé's right. She had brown hair that she wore in pigtails that draped over her shoulders. Xion felt her throat tighten as everyone stared with mocking eyes. "Sorry," she muttered. "What was that?" Naminé cupped her hand around her ear. "I didn't hear you." Her glossy pink lips curled into a wicked smile. "Sorry," repeated Xion a little louder this time. "Sorry that you're a stuck-up whore." Naminé's face grew red as the gathering crowd owed and began chanting "fight" over and over. Naminé grabbed Xion's collar and shoved her into the locker. Xion felt her head throb as it slammed against the locker. "Stop!" boomed a deep voice. A large hand pulled Naminé away from Xion. A tall, muscular, silver-haired boy towered over Naminé. "That's enough." "Riku, you always ruin my fun," she huffed. She flipped her golden locks. "Doesn't matter. This bitch is a nobody anyway." She stuck her tiny fake nose in the air and walked off. Everyone followed suit and left as the bell for first period rang. Xion was left all alone in the vast hallway. A nobody. The words echoed through Xion's head. She has always been an outcast. No friends and no real family. She never spoke or did anything that included people. Yet she has always been a target for people to bully. Every day she was harassed by people who called her by the same names every day and pushed her around. But today, after that incident, her life became a living hell. Naminé had connections everywhere, and everywhere Xion went, everyone jumped in the bandwagon and mocked Xion, spreading rumors about her giving boys a special treat behind the gym, or how she was actually a guy but enjoys cross-dressing. This caused a bunch of immature guys to pull down her skirt in the cafeteria. Xion was at her limits until the last period arrived. All right," yelled the fat, balding science teacher. "Everyone take a seat." Even though the building was ice cold, his bald head was shining with sweat. "Today, you guys get partners for the upcoming science project." There was a mixture of groans and sounds of high fives, as people already had their sights locked on their partners. Xion stared at her empty table. She sat all alone in the back of the classroom. "Now, go ahead and sit next to your partners," he instructed. The sounds of chairs scraping against the hard tile filled the room as people got up and partnered up. Xion remained in her seat. "Xion, do you not have a partner?" asked the science teacher. Xion shook her head. This always happened, but for some reason Xion felt embarrassed this time. A few people sniggered. Of course, no one wants to be Xion's partner. She's a nobody. The science teacher rolled his eyes at them. Well, this is a partner-only assignment, meaning without the partner, you'll fail. "I'll be her partner." A new voice entered the room. "Ah, Roxas. Finally decided to join us today, I see." A tall, spiky blonde-haired boy took a seat right next to Xion. He had a tiny hoop earring and a nose ring, and appeared to be wearing eyeliner. He looked very attractive in his red plaid shirt and black skinny jeans. His mischievous blue eyes sparkled as he ran his hand through his hair. A few girls glared at Xion. "Well, looks like you got lucky there, Xion." The science teacher turned around to the board and began explaining the project. Roxas held out his hand. "I'm Roxas." Xion looked at his hand. "I'm Xion." Roxas lowered his unshaken hand and cleared his throat. Well, nice to meet you." Xion remained silent. Roxas glanced at the small girl with short black hair. "You have pretty blue eyes." Xion shifted nervously in his seat. Her cheeks became rosy. "Shut up, stupid." Roxas smirked. "I'll get you to talk one way or another." "Have one partner come up and get the supplies," instructed the science teacher as he wiped his shiny bald head. Xion quickly jumped from her seat to retrieve the supplies. One of the boys who sat in front snickered as he waited for Xion to walk back to her seat. "Check this out," he whispered to his partner. He quickly kicked out his leg and swung it forward into Xion's legs. "Whoa!" Xion fell over his legs and landed on the tray of supplies, shattering a few beakers. The room erupted with laughter. The boy who tripped her wiped tears from his eyes. "Watch where you're going, slut." Xion felt her eyes tear up, and she bit down on her trembling lip. She held her right hand. There was a sharp pain that throbbed intensely. Roxas looked at Xion and saw her pain. He glanced around the room to see everyone mocking Xion. He tensed up as he saw a red liquid drip from Xion's injured hand. He felt his stomach twist and knot up as he stared at the blood. He couldn't move his eyes away. Xion pushed herself off the floor and ran out the room with laughter still going on. She felt tears stream down her face. It was the first time in a long time she was able to cry. The heavy clouds finally released their rain and completely drenched the sidewalks and flooded the gutters. Xion held her bandaged hand as she walked through the rain. She didn't bother bringing an umbrella. She shivered as the rain soaked through her clothes. "Here." Xion looked up to see Roxas holding an umbrella over her. She blinked at him. "You look cold." He placed the umbrella in her left hand. "How's your hand?" Roxas reached over to her injured hand. Xion quickly pulled away her hand. "Stop!" Roxas glanced down at the ground. "I'm sorry for what happened." Xion turned around. "Don't pity me," she said as she walked away. Roxas watched the small girl walk away in the rain. He smiled to himself as he turned around and walked in the opposite direction. When school was over, Xion returned home. She lived in a pretty large house. It was a lovely blue house with many rooms, a large living room with a chandelier hanging from above, and a fancy dining room. The front and backyard were huge. A beautiful garden filled the front with large cherry blossom trees and rose bushes that lined the walkway. The back was filled with beautiful shrines that surrounded a large pool filled with crystal clear water. Xion entered through the large, beautifully carved wooden doors, but behind all the glamour was a dark secret. Xion marched up the spiraling staircase and entered her room, locking it behind her. She set down her stuff and stood in front of her full body mirror. Her short black hair was wet and clung to her skin. Her blue eyes were red from crying in the infirmary. Xion removed her blue sweater that began to irritate her skin from being wet. Large black and blue bruises ran up and down her tiny arms. She recalled the previous night where her drunken adopted father tried to beat her. Xion held up her arms in defense as he struck her, earning her bruises. "That's what I get for forgetting to lock the door," she said under her breath as she changed out of her wet clothes and into her pajamas. She grabbed a pudding cup from her mini fridge. As she peeled off the lid and began consuming the delicious snack, she stared at the umbrella rocks escape her. "That's the first time someone ever did anything nice for me." She gulped the last spoonful of her chocolate pudding. She tossed the cup away and slid into bed. It was nice and comforting, like a hug. She snuggled under the blankets and looked at the ceiling. "Thank you, Roxas," she mumbled, before drifting off into a blissful slumber. That has been the first chapter of this story, and I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for sticking to the end. This outro is going to be a little longer and a bit unstructured because I have a few things I want to say about this channel and about what I'm going to do forward that I don't want to put in a separate video, so this may be a bit jumbled and messy, but I'll try to keep it short. This has of course been the first chapter in the story called A Tale of a Nobody, which is one of my all-time favorite fanfictions out there. I really enjoy things like Kingdom Hearts or other video games or cartoons or series, and I think that there is actually a lot of good fanfiction out there, and I think fanfiction sometimes get a bad rep because of course there is some smutty sex fanfictions with characters just having sex just because that's what people imagine and want to hear, but there's also stories like this in alternate universes where the characters interact in different kind of ways, and I really enjoy these kind of stories, and I want to put some more attention to these kind of stories and maybe hopefully change the reputation that fanfiction actually have, because there is a lot of good things out there and a lot of good writers too, and I want them to get the credit they deserve, in my opinion at least. And that is why I want to make these videos. I want to continue with this story, and I want to do other stories as well, to bring these writers and these stories to the people's attention. And I hope that that's something people wanna listen to. I really do. So that's what I'm gonna do with the future. I'm gonna continue making these. And that's because, and that is why I have made a fanfiction account on the website fanfiction.net under the same name, The Young Storyteller. And if you have recommendations or you're a fanfiction writer yourself, please feel free to contact me. Send me a message there. If you have a story you want me to read or anything like that, I will gladly take a look at it and read it and maybe even do a video on it. I will at least read it through and see if I like it. So please feel free to contact me. And if you don't have a fanfiction account and you just watch the video, feel free to comment down below, say if you liked it or if you didn't like it or whatever. Just any kind of criticism is more than welcome. And that's kind of it. So thanks for listening and thanks for tuning in. Bye.